I would say also embodied virtue. And it's embodied virtue that is in some sense reflective of the action of the highest value operating at a local scale.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we believe. We believe in the doctrine of infallibility, or isma. And so we believe that all prophets basically did the best thing possible for human beings. And this is narrated about the Prophet Muhammad. In fact, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, the Quran in chapter 68, verse 2, that, and you have impeccable virtue, basically the highest level virtue. And this is something about all the prophets. And obviously, if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't be sufficient guides for us in terms of humanity. So if that's what you mean by a spark of divinity, then I don't think there's a point of resistance.
Yeah, well, these things are hard to sort out, right? The terminology, and that's part of the complexity of these sorts of discussions.
For us, divinity is basically having the attributes of God. So once again, since we know God through his attributes, from that perspective, that human beings cannot possess the fullness of the attributes of God. If you want, I can recite.
No, that seems like a perfectly reasonable perspective. I mean, we're all limited, infallible creatures, and we'd be fools not to see that. The attributes of God, how are they knowable? Is that only through relationship with the book, or does that also have an experiential element as far as you're concerned?
So what I can do, in fact, is I can recite for you a couple of verses from the Quran, because what we believe is they are known through the revelation. And I can recite for you maybe 10, 20-second verses and translate for you and show you what I think it will give you more of a flavor of what we believe.
Sure. Do what you will.
So the Quran states in the end of chapter 59, هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. So let me read the translation from because I don't want to get this wrong, right? These two verses I think are probably the two best verses that answer your question in the Quran. Allah is He. I'm going to get something maybe a bit better. Translation. All right. Mahsen Khan. He is Allah, that there is no God worthy of worship except for Him, the King, the Holy, the one free from all defects, the giver of security, the watcher over His creatures, the mighty, the compeller, the supreme. Glory be to Him. Glory be to God. High is He above all that they associate as partners with Him. He is Allah, the creator, the inventor of all things, the bestower of forms. To Him belong the best names. All that is in the heavens and the earth glorify Him, and He is the Almighty, the All-Wise. So these are, I would say, potentially the two best verses that summarize for us.
So it's an attempt to use a multiplicity of virtues to define a supreme source of good. So, okay, I have a technical question for you, a procedural question, I guess. When we're talking, so you sang those verses, and then, so here's what happened. I asked you that question. You sang those verses or chanted them, or a combination of those two. Okay, but there's a melodic element to that, and I don't understand the language, and then you translated them. And so why approach the answer to my question in that manner?
Because we believe that the Quran in its original language has an element in it, or has a virtue, if you like, to it, or an attribute to it, which cannot be felt or experienced phenomenologically, if you like, through just mere translation. We believe that.
And so what purpose does that serve in a discussion with someone like me?
What it will do, hopefully, because we believe the Quran has divine qualities itself. The Quran itself has divine qualities. So we believe, number one, it's a cure. We believe it's actually a physical cure as well as a spiritual cure. We believe that it's a guidance. we believe that it's something which will literally put you in a psychological state of ease. So in a sense, what it will do, it hopefully, will have an effect on you, which is physiological, maybe psychological. And in a sense, it's like giving you something to taste rather than just explaining what it tastes like, and so that's why I feel it's
how do you know when that's appropriate and when it's not?
It's
I mean, you
appropriate.
obviously don't but you don't.
Yeah, I don't mean that. I mean,
no, but so that's why I asked the question. It's obviously you're making distinctions. You're not doing what you just did with
what
me.
it is doing peace, and I want to give you the full Islamic experience. You see?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
so,
okay.
so part of it is to